All right, you guys, we are recording. Hi, welcome everybody. At least on my screen, I have the Hindsight Is 2020 RP right here on the top banner. So great to see you guys all. Thanks for making the time on a busy Thursday in the middle of the day. So for those of you who have been watching some of the episodes, you already know what Hindsight Is 2020 is about, but for those who haven't, basically our goal is to blend the personal and professional with real producers. We think that's how everybody betters their business. So we have top professionals on today that I'm just super excited to kind of hear from and channel the collective wisdom in the room, where our goal is always that whenever we get people together who are the best in their industries, there's always things to learn and ways to better ourselves and our offering to our clients. So thank you again for being here. I'm going to give you a chance to go around the room and introduce yourselves. And I've told you this beforehand, but after you kind of tell us who you are and where you work and what you do, why don't you also let us know just something that has been a win from this past year, looking back on 2020. We are all about celebrating and cheering for each other in this platform. So it's not bragging, it's celebrating. So let us know that, and then we'll get started. Bernadette here at the top of my screen. So I will kick it off to you first.
Oh, thank you. First of all, for inviting me. I'm just so delighted, and it's lovely to meet some new people in the business and just stay connected. I'm Bernadette Augustine with Augustine and Associates Remax Gold here in Sierra Oaks. I have 6 other women on my team. I have been in the business, I hate to admit, almost 20 years. And 6 years ago, I started putting my team together at Remax, and it's the best thing I've ever done. Last year, a win for us was, I think I run my team very differently than most traditional teams. I have very independent, collaborative, creative women on my team. And I think one of the things that was a big win for us last year was pivoting and going back to basics, getting in touch with our client base. For me, going back to reconnecting, and I tend to be old-fashioned and I use my phone all the time, so that was very much easier for me. We ended up having our best year ever by a long shot. We had a lofty goal, and we beat it very well. I will say the first 6 weeks of the pandemic were certainly rather frightening. I had just come back from a big conference in Vegas with R4, with Remax, and there were 7,000 agents there, and it was just the beginning of this hell. But you know what, after the shock, I think we all have pivoted, and I think we're all blessed that we live in a country where you know, we're able to be safe for the most part, and we did really well. I can't complain. We ended up having a great year, but I'm very delighted that we have vaccines and we have a different year to look forward to, and different challenges.
Yes, absolutely. All right, thanks, Bernadette. Kelly, we'll toss it off to you.
My name is Kelly Pleasant. I run a Pleasant Real Estate Group at Guide Real Estate in East Sac. I've been full-time in real estate for 9 years. Currently sit on the board of directors for the Sacramento Association of Realtors, and also the steering committee for Masters Club as well with the association. And I would say in 2020, I think my highlight is that right now I hold the highest sale in Folsom in the last 15 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's about it.
All right. Cool. I love it. Melanie, let's pass it off to you.
Right. It's nice to meet you guys. My name is Melanie Sanfilippo. I'm with the Overhead Door Company of Sacramento. 2020 started out to be a big year for us. We were super excited. We had a lot going on. We had changed our system. We were leaving the paper and pen estimating. We had all of our techs on tablets, and we had a lot of things planned. For those of you that don't know, we are local, family owned and operated. We've been around since 1953. So my husband and I are the 3rd generation of that business. And this year we had a big transition. The 2nd generation, David and Kathy Leisha, retired. So we celebrated their long and successful tenure. So that was a really, really exciting time. But obviously, as you all know, in March, it was scary, and we were all very, very unsure, like what is going to happen next. So I think one of the biggest wins for us, we have this great team of people that work for us and with us and have been with us for a really long time. And we came together in ways that we've never had to come together before. And I think you always see the quote, like we were all in the same storm, but we weren't in the same boat. Like my husband and I are empty nesters now. We weren't dealing with, kids home, but we have other people here who now all of a sudden their kids were home, or, maybe spouses are home, or they are both essential workers. It was just a lot going on, and it took a while to figure it out. And I think everyone just showed like a huge amount of kindness and understanding, and everyone was so willing to adapt and be creative with how we were going to do our showroom, and be creative with how we were going to help our clients. And I think it brought us all closer. And that was a really cool, different thing. We've all worked together for years and years, but that was exciting to see people in a different way.
I love that. Yeah, I agree. I think that happened in a lot of places, and it was pretty cool to see the humanity kind of rise up. Yeah, that's awesome. Sherry, down to you. Well, I say down because you're on my screen down, but.
Hi, everyone. Sherry Schaller with Sotheby's International Realty. I work out of the Nick Sadik office, and I have been in real estate now for 18 years. Lived in Rockland now for almost 25 years, and that's where the bulk of my business is. So I'm really fortunate about that. So I get to stay in my own little bubble for the most part. 2020 was not the best a year for a lot of people, and I certainly don't think it was amazing. However, my biggest highlight for the year was all of us being in real estate. We were all very blessed to continue to work, probably make a lot more money, do things that a lot of people weren't able to do. And so since I am so entrenched in the Rockland community, I took a couple $1,000s and I bought gift cards, and I delivered those to real estate apartment complexes and gave them to the managers. And that was super fun because one guy came out and he's like, "What do you want? Are you for real?" And I'm like, "I just want to give back." So that was super cool. And they all wrote me notes of what an impact that had made on so many families' lives that were not able to go out and buy gifts because they just bought gifts for their people and let them come and pick gifts from under the tree. And so for me, that was super joyful and amazing.
I love that. I saw when you
That's
posted
fabulous.
that. It was, yeah, super, super awesome. I love that.
Cool.
It's a good story. All right, Jean and Craig. Hi, guys. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Gene just had to go get the front door.
That's all right. Tell us.
But I'm Craig Milton with Family First Mortgage in Citrus Heights. I've been doing loans for 31 years. And hey, one big plus I bet y'all noticed last year was, did y'all notice your credit card bills going down without all those restaurants open? I mean, I would say that, like, I can't believe how much we must have been going to restaurants, but credit card bill went down. I think, would you say we had probably our best year ever last year?
I think, yeah.
I mean, as far as number of units, we had our best year. One thing that happened at the beginning of the year is I scheduled client appreciation events. I planned one a month, had the whole schedule out, sent our clients the list at the beginning of 2020. And we did one of those events, and then every other event had to get canceled with COVID. So that first event though was great. I was really excited about the next event, but had to pretty much cancel those. I'd say last year was great in the lending industry because COVID made rates go down. I mean, the economy was in turmoil, so rates went down to record lows. But on the other hand, as far as third parties like underwriters, title, appraisals, the COVID really did cause a disruption. So turn times were higher than normal. So it does take a lot of realtors being patient. But you know, as far as the rates were great, units were great, and just turn time was higher than normal, and credit card bills were way less than ever.
We did eat a lot more at home. That was a choice.
And I set up a home gym too.
Oh, I think a lot of people did that too. I heard equipment was like on Craigslist, like crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't find it. It was like houses are now, right? soon as they list, they're gone.
And I want to steal that idea for the apartment gift cards. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I just want to kick us off and basically turn it over to you guys as the experts. But I will ask you, I mean, some of you mentioned some of the things that you noticed change in the market, but what would you say were some of the immediate shifts in your practice and business and the way that you had to function that, you know, I think everybody in this industry really demonstrated a lot of ability to pivot really quickly and adapt and, you know, make changes. So what kinds of things do you feel like maybe of those changes are here to stay now that have really changed the way that real estate is going to be done moving forward? And what kinds of things do you feel like were quick band-aids, for lack of a better word, that maybe as soon as we go back to normal, if we ever do, those things will reset and, you know, go back?
Hey, first, did you want to meet Gene? He's smarter than me.
Hi, I'm Gene. I agree with everything he said, but that's about all I got.
There you go. Good call. I like it.
I think one of the things I love now is that you just don't show property to anybody that's not pre-approved. I love being able to blame COVID on not being able to take people out just because they want to start looking around. Nope,
Right.
can't do that. And open houses. I used to love them, and I still do, but I don't miss putting out the signs. And people make appointments. They're more patient. It's been good.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's changing? That's changing for good? Do you think open houses are a thing of the past now, or just the way that you do them? What are your thoughts on that?
I think a little bit of both. I think the people who really don't ever want them anymore or don't want to do them, they'll be able to get away with not doing them because houses have sold without doing them.
Well, I agree with you, Sherry. However, I do think if the market goes down, they will come back in a hurry because sellers will be desperate to do whatever it takes. And I know for me and my team, most of our business is by referral only. And open houses were just awesome. And I agree with you. I have enjoyed having a little more of the weekend and having the ability to make sure that we now educate our clients that you go into a house if you're qualified. Rather than being an Uber driver for a day, which as professionals we should never have done to begin with anyway. So yeah, it's hard to tell, you know, because our world will probably never be quite the same, at least not for a very long time. And I think there's some good things that have come out of this too. However, this year is completely different. Our inventory is down 40, 60%. And now you have 15 minutes in some of the houses. And I think that is a negative because now I see you're selling $1 million home and you have 15 minutes and your clients get to make a decision. And some of them are panicked. They have come from the Bay Area and they've bought houses sight unseen. And guess what? Then they do their inspections and they realize, oh, I paid 50, 60, 70, 100,000 over. I don't like the wallpaper. And I'm seeing things falling out. I don't know what you're seeing, Kelly and Sherry, in that, but I think we have to be careful.
I would say for me, open houses weren't a big part of my business like Bernadette. My business is basically referral based, but yeah, I will say, but I will say with last year, I think the great thing is with top producers and top agents, I think they really got back to basics. I mean, basic, like Bernadette said, picking up your phone, calling your sphere, calling past clients, just making just as many touches as possible. I think, as we get, busy and, big in our businesses, I think a lot of the times we can kind of fade away from the personal touches, the touches that got us to the point of being in that, position and having the luxury of, having stuff automated. But I really think, even the busiest person of March of last year had time. We all had time. And so I think for me, it really got me back to just the basics of just being consistent, really being visible with my sphere and my past clients.
That's great.
And didn't you find, go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, Bernadette.
I was just going to say, Kelly, did you find too, as I did, in picking up that phone, it was a rather terrifying time and our worlds shrunk all of a sudden. You know, we were not supposed to leave the house and we were only supposed to go. It's not as bad as it is in Ireland, by the way. They can only go 2 kilometers. But I found that people were lonely and they were thrilled if we picked up the phone and said, hello, and how are the kids doing? And how are you managing? You know, one of my clients is an attorney and he said, I never thought that I would love having my office in the closet. He has 4 little kids, but I think the connection was really important. And I realized sometimes we're on a treadmill and we forget. And this past year made us somewhat get off that treadmill and have time to have those conversations. Because at the end of the day, our business technology is fabulous, but at the end of the day, it is about those personal relationships.
I would 1000% agree. And just like, you know, Sherry said, I think we all had our best year last year. And I think that was based on getting back to basics, communicating with people who want to see us succeed. I mean, that's the best thing in the world. As people are spending more and more money on cold leads and, you know, certain, you know, having mets. And I think that's a great model, but putting time and investing money into your sphere of people who love you and they want to see you do well. Sometimes they need a reminder that you do real estate. I don't care how long you've been in, 9 years, 18 years, 20 years. Someone just, oh, I forgot. Oh, thank you for calling me. You know, even just those gentle reminders really do go far.
Yeah, I think one of the things that has come up, and I know when I've gotten a chance to sit down with at least you and Bernadette and Sherry in person, we've talked about how this past year, that kind of personal relationship was really the thing that became so key for real estate, because there was so much stuff changing constantly that it really, your clients were relying on being able to pick up the phone and call a real person. It really validated the need for a top professional actual agent, you know, and there's none of this like, I understand everything that's going on in the market and can list my own house sort of nonsense going on, because they really needed people who were educated and committed to understanding and staying on top of everything that was changing so much. So I have a question kind of based on the kind of what you were referencing with the inventory being so low right now and buyers going into a panic and trying to overbid and win these houses. Where do you feel like your role comes into play with helping them to win these bids versus guiding them through a wise purchase? It's just crazy how much, you know, over asking and waiving of contingencies and getting approvals for loans that, you know, can they even get those? It seems like it's become so competitive. I'm just curious what you guys are seeing. Jean and Craig, you can weigh in if you want as well, but yeah, just curious your thoughts there.
I'll give you something from a lender's perspective. The most common question I always get from a borrower or even realtors is, where are rates? And one thing I like everyone to know is, if you really ever want to know where rates are, if you just like to see a trend line, always track the 10-year bond. The 10-year bond is what is tracking mortgage rates. Now, every scenario is specific, so everyone has specific to their credit score, their loan to value. But if you just want to know a general market, you can always look at the 10-year bond. And what I was going to say is, last year, they were at record lows. And right now, I don't want to say the sky is falling, but if you really track the 10-year bond like we track every day for the last 2 weeks, it is going really high, like alarmingly high. So if inventory is low and that makes prices go up because you're in a seller's market and rates are going up, something has to stop at one point. You're going to start noticing less and less borrowers qualifying if home prices are higher and rates are higher. So we were at just record business volume last year, and that is really flipping. Like, we're noticing it in the last couple of weeks. And if you ever want to just see a graph, just go on the 10-year bond and take a look at how much that has risen in the last month, and especially even the last few days. So I'm not a sky is falling alarmist. I just wanted people to get a sense of what's going on in the rate market if they're not, because it might become a story in a couple of weeks if this trend continues.
Well, don't you think that's also relevant to the fact that the inventory is so, I mean, inventory is so low, everybody that's looking to buy can't buy.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with home prices, but I think rates are more to do with our macro economy and
Well,
some
for
of the,
sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
just say you said your business is slowing down. So it's got, but it also has to be because we're all competing against 15, 25 offers. I mean, at this point, it's like
Yeah.
you just want to hand a seller a blank purchase agreement with your buyer's name on it and say, here, why don't you just fill it in and what you want? And then if they want to take it, they'll win. They'll be the winner. I mean, it's so frustrating. If other than you can guide your client with the best information that you possibly can, but quite frankly, it's whoever is willing to give up anything and everything is and who ends up being the actual winner of that purchase. You
Mhm.
know,
In our world, half our business isn't purchases, it's also refinances. So rates affect refinance business. So when I say I see things slowing down, it also has to do with the refinance purchase, which can be a precursor to purchases. Now, sometimes when rates go up, and that means there's less and less qualified buyers, that'll put pressure on home prices coming down, which you might see for the purchase market. But I just trying to give a lender's perspective of rates. We've been at historical low rates. Rates are still low. I mean, I've been doing it for 31 years. When I started, rates were in the teens, so my perspective is a little different. But I'm just saying they're going higher than they were last year. But,
Yeah.
but I don't want to say the sky's falling.
Katie, you were asking about how we guide our clients through that process. And I do think it's another opportunity for us as we move into another year about really educating our clients, not only just to the market, but also we are in such a race. And if you're first across the finish line, yes, removing XYZ contingencies, that's wonderful. But I think we also have a big obligation when chatting with our buyers. They need to be both emotionally and financially committed. And they're the ones in the race. They can't look, I used to run marathons. You can't look behind and see who's behind you and going to sneak up on you. You have to run your own race. And I always tell them, where do you want to go with this? It doesn't matter about where somebody else wants to go. This is where it's priced. Where's your comfort level? Because those people fall out less often than those who are encouraged to, oh, you have to go X, Y, Z. And we're seeing insane, I've seen 200,000. I've written a $200,000 over asking on a $1-2 million property for a client. We're seeing 50,000 over asking and 48 offers, which is another interesting situation that I'm not a fan of. I don't think there's any need for 48 offers. If the agents are calling you and you're going to be emotionally connected to the process for your client so that you can let them know who's really qualified, who's going to follow through with this, rather than just saying, oh, I got 48 offers. Well, and we all operate differently, but I do think it's an opportunity to educate our clients through the process, not just with their pocketbook, but with their heart.
I like that.
And then just from our end, I think the people that aren't able to get in the market or it's too competitive or prices are too high, I think a lot of them have decided to stay where they're at and then remodel or redo things to their home, because we've seen a lot of people that are just trying to boost curb appeal or update and upgrade their garage door. And with all this indoor outdoor living, we've had some really fun projects where people are taking walls out and putting like a restaurant style modern aluminum door on like a pool house or a game room, or just trying to create a different space in a way that they've never had to use it before because everyone is home right now. So we're kind of seeing that too. And then in the beginning, when before it got to where the inventory was so low, we would just have a lot of people that were putting their house on the market that wanted to do a really quick upgrade on their exterior. So they would just, purchase a garage door to get that bang for your buck, remodel a large portion of the exterior since it's the first thing people see, and because photos were everything and they wanted that exterior photo to look good. So we were doing a lot of those in the beginning as well.
Right. Well, and I can imagine that. Oh, sorry, I'll let you go, Kelly.
I would say I agree with Bernadette. I think it's educating the buyers. I think taking a step further is agents being educated on writing offers in this type of market. Just on the buyer side, we're super competitive. So, I mean, again, it's bottom dollar, what can you give to move forward to hit the number one spot? but also when you're receiving offers on your listings, I mean, you have agents writing offers 70 grand and over with no mention of an appraisal. And so, I mean, you're calling, you have these conversations, you're like, hey, well, what about the appraisal? Well, hopefully they just get close and your sellers will just get a little bit more. And that's just not the way, it's not the right way to do things. So I think, again, educating buyers, but most importantly, having agents be educated and really learning the contract. You just see in this market, a lot of agents should really go back to the basics and learning the actual contract.
That would be very nice.
In a perfect world, right?
And Kelly, I think, and Sherry, to go along with that, I never understand an agent who will send you an offer without ever communicating with you.
I like those agents because you don't have to call them back. If that's how they're going to perform for their buyer,
Yeah,
writing an offer.
I find it. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, you know, and if you want to be competitive, how do you know how you can compete if you don't know what kind of a race you're going to have to run?
Right.
You know, you don't have many people are in it. You don't know how strong they are. Are they sprinters? Are they good old sluggers like me and they can go the distance? You know, so there are lots of ways to do it. And I actually find that really exciting. I love that process and I love to get to know the agent on the other side. And I always tell my team, the agent on the other side of that contract is your customer and they are part of the process. And you have a fiduciary to everybody. It's just not about you winning. It is about us together doing what's right for both sides and having the integrity and grace to work with another great agent on the other side. And even if they're not highly educated, at least hopefully they have the attitude and we can help them along. Sorry, it's my dogs and my door. Just give me a second. I'll be back. Shush.
This is live entertainment.
I know. That's what we do, right? We blend the personal and professional. Well, I was just going to ask really quick, Kelly and Sherry, on your listings, are you doing much? Like, are you finding, like, how much are you encouraging your sellers to put into their houses prior to selling? Or is the fact that the inventory is so low, is it kind of like just list it as is? Or are you doing some of those updates like Melanie was talking about still to get top dollar? Or do you feel like as representing buyers, you come in and say, oh, we can take care of that on the back end. If you don't like the garage door, if you don't like this, you're as the buyer going to change it out later because sellers aren't right now fancying up their listings. Which way does that work usually?
I think it depends on the purchase price or the list price of where you're pricing at. I think if you're in luxury and you're around $1 million or $1 million plus, there may be some things you can add that you're really going to get, you know, dollar for dollar return, if not more. I have one coming up in Atomas next weekend, and they're, you know, doing some light paint, you know, new blinds, just small touches that are really going to make things pop. But I mean, again, they're dollar for dollar, if not more return. So I think it really just depends on the price point on where you land, if you want to put money into it.
I always encourage people, depending on what the property is, like a new garage door, unless it's completely destroyed, I don't know that I would ask them to spend money on that. No offense. I love garage doors. They're beautiful. But we still have to present a product and it still has to make somebody feel good about wanting to buy it. And if they have the high hopes of somebody overbidding on a property and their property, you still need to make it clean. It still needs to have a nice presentation. I still help my clients stage properties. I have a garage full of stuff. We still want to present a nice product. I mean, it's just a reflection on how the home's been taken care of. And it will bring the people more money. I've had to tell people they have to clean their house. That's not the easiest conversation to have, but if it didn't sell the last time, there's a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I still find it to be very, very important.
Especially if they have 9 cats.
Ugh. No one should have 9 cats.
All right, well, I'm going to open it up really quick to any questions that you guys as realtors might have for our industry professionals, or vice versa, just as you guys seek to work together and serve your clients alongside each other. If you have any questions for each other, and then we'll go to our Fast Five.
Well, I'm delighted to meet everyone. I have, Sherry, I know your name. But Kelly, I know you're more ESAC. It's lovely to meet you. Jean and Craig, now I know you. And Melanie, I will be calling you because I love when my clients upgrade and do a new door, because most garage doors I don't love.
Oh, thank you.
And when I walk around the neighborhood, I could probably drop off your cart, because I live in Arden Park and my son and I walk every day, and I think, don't you think they could, why don't they just put shutters up? Couldn't they fix the garage door? So I like spending other people's money.
Really dated sort of look, right? They can date the house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess I have a question for Jean and Craig. What are you seeing with your agents that you're working with as far as offers going out, strength wise, certain terms? What are you seeing in the contracts? The ones that get accepted.
Well, the ones that get accepted are very strong. But I say one thing I'm noticing is we are sending out a lot of pre-quals and we never hear from anybody again. So we totally understand when the inventory is low and there's like probably 18 buyers for one home. We're obviously getting a lot of those other 17 when it comes to the amount of pre-quals that you send out compared to them getting the actual accepted offer. So, we notice those type of statistics, but a lot of times we never really know what's happening. We know the math and the statistics, but sometimes.
Well, one question you might be asking or seeking is that in a buyer's market, we see the seller cover a lot of the closing costs or, transfer taxes, owner's policies, kicking in on seller credits. But on a seller's market, which we're in right now, we're not seeing any of that in any accepted offer. The most that the sellers are contributing is transfer taxes and the owner's policy. But even some of those are being split 50-50, or even the buyers taking all of it on to win that contract. So that's what we're still currently seeing, which is, a strength for the listing agents and a hurdle for the buyer's agents. So that's what we're seeing on those right now.
And then to make the offer stronger, people will put less time to close. And I want you to know, as lenders, we always try to get the loan done as fast as possible. We don't even look at that time frame, but sometimes they're just unreasonable in a market, and you guys are probably having to do an addendum.
We're over promising.
Who would do that? Now, you probably already know this because we're already into March, but every year the loan limits for conventional lending are lifted. And so this year, in our Sacramento County, our 4 counties, it's at 598. So that was a nice bump up for conventional lending. Anything over 598 is jumbo. You probably all experienced jumbo lending. That's even a tighter market right now. Really putting on 24 months reserves is, a difficult thing for some people when they're buying $1 million property, but we expect that to open back up as the rates go back up and the interest in wanting to do jumbo loans comes back. It'll become a little easier to do those, I bet.
I do like that quote from Bernadette that she looks as the other realtor as their customer, because I got to tell you, sometimes, occasionally in our world, we have to feel like a little bit of a therapist between the two realtors. So it's really nice if you guys are getting along. That could probably make the transaction more smooth than anything if the two realtors are having great communication and getting along. That might have more to do with your offer than the price.
You know what? You've made a very good point, Jane, because when I go on a listing appointment, I make it very clear to the seller, I'm their advocate, and I will make sure, and they've every right to know as much as everything they can about the agent on the other side, because who wants hell on wheels, with an agent that is not going to perform or isn't as interested in the process. And our lender is part of the team. We all need to, as I said, give each other grace and realize we're in the service business. We're not in sales. We are of service to our clients. And I don't care if you're putting peas in a can or tuna in a can or you're selling toilet seats. You better have that same commitment, enthusiasm, and everything else in the best interest of your client. And if business goes to hell in a handbasket, I'll be baking Irish bread and I'll still sell it and make you all happy.
I agree. You know, when it comes to one transaction, we're all on the same team. I mean,
Exactly.
the real lenders. So it's just a great point to make, Bernadette.
Oh, thank you. Gina, Craig, you mentioned it several times about the tracking the 10-year bond, and obviously you're seeing interest rates going up. Do you think they're going to, do you have any inkling of where they'll go in the next couple of months? How do we advise investors who are first-time home buyers? Do you think are we going to see 5-6 by the end of the year? What are you thinking?
Well, I get that question, and I got to say that no one truly knows where a market is going if it's a pure market. And unless the person talking to you is on a multi-million-dollar yacht, maybe not trust their answer. Because if I really knew where rates were going, I could make a big bet in the market. And so really no one knows, but I just got this feeling, you know, what goes up must come down, what's down must go up. And we really have been at historical lows, and people have been predicting rates going higher for a few years now. And it just seems like those predictions are starting to come true. I mean, it seems reasonable that rates will go up, but at what speed and at what point, I don't know. I do have a feeling that rates are going up, but I'm not on a yacht. So
I don't think they're going up too high either, though. I mean, the Fed has announced that they want to artificially keep them low through 2023. So even if we see this little bit of spike that we've had over the last, even the last 3 days, it's still not critical. We're doing, I think everybody sees the same thing in our market. The interest rates were 2.5, 2.625, 2.75. Now it's 3 to 3.125. That's still fantastic.
Absolutely.
In the history of rates, it's incredible. 6 months ago, that's what it was, and they were the best ever. So we're doing fine with rates. It's just what will happen over the next 3 to 5, 6 months. We're not sure. Short term, they've gone up every single day for 8 straight days. They've got to come back. That's just how the market works. They got to dip down a little bit, and then what do they do? We don't know. We're gonna have to wait and find out. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of information in the market with the stimulus package, and with are we going to forgive student loans across the board for $50,000 for every student loan out there? There's a lot of things that could affect the market in the short term, and we'll have to see how that plays out.
I have another quick question. Can I ask another one, Katie? In general, if any of you have any thoughts on, number one, the forbearance, that apparently there's $8.5 million homes, 8.5 million homes that are going to go into forbearance by, I think, the end of July. And then also with the end of the rental agreements where people have paid a little or none, how do you all think that will affect the market?
From a lender's perspective, we're pretty sure that once the forbearance program sunset, that the government will come out with a program to assist those people, just like they did back in 09 and 10. They came out with the acronym was HARP. We're sure that the government will come out with some kind of an equivalent loan to allow people to get back up. Currently, the only way to get out of forbearance is to bring it current. That's it. And that's a harsh one, especially since I think they're allowing them to miss 3 more months now. So I think when it sunsets, is that 3 months from now, or are they going to extend that? I don't know. Once that happens, I'm sure they'll come up with a program to allow people to get out of that. But what those are, we don't know yet right now.
Our guess is they'll probably allow those loans to be put back to the end of the loan, and therefore they are current just because they took a loan that's due for 6 months and put it back toward the end. And then those people will be back in the market ready to buy a home or refinance
or take that amount and make it a second loan, a second mortgage on the house, but something to help stimulate. And the last thing the government wants is for it to stagnate. So I'm sure they'll do something. We just don't know what that is yet.
Okay.
To get those people going.
Thank you.
And I think most people who went into forbearance actually thought that's what they were getting in the first place.
You're right. I think it was very confusing.
The payments would go on the back end. And
that's exactly right. So we have borrowers that are so confused that they don't realize where they're not qualifying without getting current. So
yes,
that is true. There was really misinformation out there about what that program was.
And then I think also for the people who went into forbearance and couldn't take advantage of the good interest rates, because you can't refi in the forbearance, correct?
You cannot right now. You have to bring it current. Yeah.
So a lot of people miss that.
Might come into. Sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
And I said a lot of people missed that boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might come into play too, because like on a first-time home buyer, sometimes the lender will want to see a 12-month rental history for a first-time home buyer. And if they've been in a rental forbearance, I'm sure there's going to be a program to allow them to be, to be a first-time home buyer, even though they were in the forbearance rental program for a period of time. And what those are, we don't know. When are they going to have to, make it good for the previous landlord or not? We don't know, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I do have one quick question for the realtors, if that's okay.
Yep.
So one of the things that we used to do all the time was go into the actual real estate office, do a presentation at your weekly or monthly meeting. Obviously, those are not happening. Do you guys think you'll ever traditionally be back at an office with all the agents in there at the same time, or will that be a thing of the past, do you think?
I think we will.
Yeah, I think at some point, I think your top producers are back.
I didn't stop going to the office, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. And,
Yeah.
I was super thankful for real producers because when Katie came to my office in the beginning, I'll be honest, it was in the beginning stages and I was like, I'm not sure, but it ended up being one of my best marketing plays in 2020. So Katie, thank you, because it got us in front of people when everything else shut down and home shows closed and vendor fairs stopped and everything person to person stopped. This was one thing where we were able to meet new people and make new connections. And I really, really appreciate that. So thank you, Katie.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thankful too. And I think it's just some of what you guys were mentioning about it being really important that everybody has those relationships. And that's who when you're on each other's team, agent to agent, agent to lender, all other service industries that are going to help your sellers or your buyers, to update. That's our goal. That's really the mission of Real Producers, is creating spaces where you can actually meet each other as business owners, because we all need each other in order to help each other best, take care of Sacramento, really, and everybody who lives here. So yeah.
And Melanie, I also think I love being on a Zoom with all of you and meeting new people, but in terms of meeting my team on Zoom, we are sick of looking at each other. And, the doorbell rings, my neighbor had a leak, sick of seeing, dogs, cats. We have started meeting outside and we'll soon start meeting in the office. And I think it also speaks to how employers are going to bring their employees back. Everybody thought, oh my gosh, the world has changed. Nobody's ever going to work except from home again.
Right.
Most people want to go back into the office and be with other humans that think alike and get that kind of energy. So I think we'll see at least partial, maybe 50% of the time people will be allowed to work from home. I think the state workers have an option here in Sacramento to be able to work full time from home. But I think most businesses, people will want to get out of their closet office and go into the office a few days a week too. So, and it'll be rather interesting because, we've heard about the people going from the Bay Area and bypassing Sacramento and moving to Tahoe. And I'm kind of giggling to myself. I'm thinking, okay, so they love this until they're snowed in for one winter and when the snow melts, they're all coming back. Everybody decided, I want to have a farm. I'm going to have chickens. I'm going to have horses. And I read a great article in the Wall Street Journal. They have great articles on, on real estate. And the chicken life and the horse life isn't as much fun as everybody thought it was. You still have to exercise them. You still have to feed them. You have to get up at 4 a.m. So it'll be interesting to see how we all look back on this in 5 years.
I had a question for the realtors, just anecdotal information. What percentage of your buyers are out of the area, like not just Bay Area, but just strictly out of the area business coming in?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow. Any of the buyers that I'm working with are all from the Bay Area. I don't work a lot with buyers, but they're all from the Bay.
The homes that you sell, the buyers were out of town.
Mm-hmm.
I say I'm about 10 to 15% right now.
I'd say overall we're about 10%.
Interesting.
All right. Well, I want to make sure to honor you guys' time, and we've got about 8 minutes to wrap up. So we're going to close with what we call our Fast Five. So get ready. Now we're all done with industry talk, and we're just gonna get to know you a little bit more before we sign off. Don't worry, I will send you guys this video and all of each other's information. So if you want to keep asking questions together, you can. But I'm gonna start at the top of my screen. And like I said, you're just gonna tell me the first answer that pops to your head. And then after Bernadette, Kelly, you are going to answer, and then Jean and Craig, you guys will go after Kelly. Sherry, you will go after Jean or Craig, whichever one of them goes first and second. And then Melanie, you will wrap us up after Sherry, and then we'll come back to start with Bernadette on the next question. So we're going to do 5 of these really quick. And yeah, these are just
dangerous.
What?
Could be dangerous.
Yeah, and I'm Uno, so.
All right, you guys ready? Bernadette, we're starting with you. I'll start you off with an easy one. Best vacation spot you want to return to?
Ballynahinch on the west coast of Ireland.
Awesome. Go ahead, Kelly.
Dubai.
Oh, I missed you. What'd you say?
Oh, Dubai.
Dubai. I'd love to go there.
Jean and Craig, that's you. You don't have to wait for me.
I'm not a world traveler, but my favorite place is Siesta Keys, Florida. It's got the #1 beach in the country, usually ranked.
Nice.
I had a great time in Belize. Probably go back there.
Nice.
I'm pretty boring. I just like going to Hawaii.
Oh, great.
That's a good thing.
Good spot. But mine is Malta.
Heard really good things about Malta. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are all making me jealous now. All right. Snow or sand, Bernadette?
Sand.
Sand.
Toes in the sand, drink in hand.
I'm an old ski bum from Vail, Colorado, but my wife is a beach, so it's sand.
And
Good answer.
I'm going to say both. Because I do love to ski, but I love to be on a boat. So either way.
I get it. All right. Best binge watching TV show right now?
I'm so embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed.
The Bachelor.
Me too. Me too.
The last one I binged was Bridgerton.
Nice. Heard a lot about that one.
This is crazy. It ages me, Matt. My wife and I have been watching old Columbo shows.
my God.
Yellowstone, and excited for the new season.
Oh, cool.
I don't watch TV, so I couldn't.
No
even tell you.
Good for you.
Good for you, Sherry.
We all strive to be.
My TV is not even working. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to jump with Bernadette and say The Bachelor.
Nice. Me too. I'll admit it. All right.
I know that was still on.
If you had to choose roller coaster or read a book?
Oh my gosh, read a book.
Read a book.
Roller coaster. Woo. That's a song.
Ohio players.
I'm reading a book. I don't want to get sick.
Somebody's gonna read.
That's why I said book.
This is why we're a good team.
Yeah, I'm reading a book.
That's good.
Somebody reading to me.
Somebody reading to you.
I'm better. Yeah.
I'm going to say roller coaster.
Nice. All right, get ready for the last one. This one is going to definitely date you, but the best song you slow danced to in junior high.
Oh.
What was your favorite junior high slow dance song?
Oh.
I can't even remember.
Or a junior high dance song?
It was so bad. I can't, honestly, I cannot even remember.
All right, we'll skip to Kelly. Give Bernadette a little bit longer.
Yeah.
112 Cupid.
112 Cupid. Greg, you got anything?
You know, this is kind of weird, but I remember slow dancing to Stairway to Heaven, and then the song really sped up, and it was kind of an awkward moment.
I have no idea. I can't remember, but I'll tell you something funny for Sacramento. I don't know if you all know Kitty O'Neill on KFBK. At my junior high school dance, she was the lead singer, and her band played for us.
There you go. That's awesome.
I don't know. I just always think of Def Leppard, but I can't think of a specific.
They have slow songs?
No, I'm just thinking of a. She said anything. I can't think
It's the
about
same Led Zeppelin problem. Def Leppard, same problem.
until I was married.
I mean, I can't remember. I'm gonna say something by maybe like Babyface.
Oh,
That's good. I know I've got Boys to Men in my head.
Yeah,
so
Boys
it's
to Men.
like- Anything, Bernadette? Anything come up?
Oh, I can't even remember. And I left Ireland. Well, I left Ireland not long after that. But I can't even, honestly, it's at the top of my head, but I can't remember. But some ancient old thing
Strangers
some-
in the Night.
with some miserable old sod. That's why I left Ireland.
Oh.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us. You've all been really good sports, and it's just been super fun to get to talk to you. And
Oh, it's been great, Katie. Thank you.
conversation's wonderful.
you.
So,
Thanks for
thank
having
you
us.
so much. I'm gonna
Nice
say,
meeting all of you.
yeah.
Lovely meeting you all too.
And again, we'll send this out so that you guys can connect. We'll
Perfect.
talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.